Page 227, Tzurba M'Rabanan, Volume 4. We're dealing with Hilchos Dam, particularly blood that's found in eggs. Very common issue. So one of the more common practical issues relating to the prohibition of consuming blood pertains to blood spots in eggs. So before discussing the status of blood found in most of the eggs today, the basic halacha of blood found in eggs has to be explained. It goes all the way back to the Gemara in Chulin. Tan Rabbanan, Giyulei Beitzim, and Rashi says that is if we took non-kosher eggs and cooked them with kosher eggs, mutaros. So the kosher eggs are permitted. Beitzim muzaros, which are talking about unfertilized eggs, she'enan shel zachar ve'ein efrach kalut bahem la'olam. These are unfertilized eggs. There were never any males around. The female eggs laid them. The eggs were not fertilized, and therefore there's never a chance that a chick could arise from that egg. So nefesh yafet tochlem. A lot of people wouldn't eat such an egg, but if you have if you're not a mafunik, if you're not an istinus, people like that eat it. However, nimtza le'akor dam.
So where did they come from?
The female laid it.
And there was no male involved?
No male involved.
Okay.
And so if we see a drop of blood, and the Gemara assumes over there that if you see a drop of blood, that egg must be, we're talking about now a fertilized egg where there was a male around. So he says you can throw away Zorikas Adam v'oichelas Ashar. As long you don't have to throw away the whole egg, just throw away the blood. As long as that drop of blood was found where the embryo begins to develop, which is in the white portion, not in the yellow portion. And if you just see the blood there, the Gemara says, that's when you can have this kula of throwing away the blood, eating the rest, not throwing away the whole egg. And all of this has to be found, again, on the white part, where the albumin is. Aval nimsal chelmon, which is the yellow part, the yolk. So afilu beitza asura. So the rest of the egg, it's not just enough to throw away the blood. Now you can't eat the whole egg. That's what the Gemara says. My timer, the shada tichla b'chula, that this process, if it's on the yellow, the process has affected the whole egg. So that's the Gemara. The Rishonim dispute whether a blood spot found in fertilized eggs, because we said it's forbidden, you got to throw it away. Well, why is it forbidden? Is it forbidden biblically or only d'Rabbanan? According to Rashi and the Bali Tosfos, an egg is not considered meat, right? We eat eggs with milk. An egg is not fleshit. So the blood inside is only forbidden on a d'Rabbanan level. So according to Rashi and Tosfos, 227, the blood that we're osering here is only osir midrabanan. Even though, and we're talking about, the Gemara assumed if you see blood there, it's a fertilized egg. And even though such an egg can turn into a chick, and a chick is meat, doesn't make a difference. At this time, it's not a type of meat, so it's not forbidden biblically. That's what Rashi and Tosfos say. Let's see Rashi. When Rashi explained the statement of V'husha nimsa hadam ala kesher shema, where we said if the blood was found where the embryo begins, which is in the white part. So who's zera shel tarnagol hakashur b'rosh hakad shel beitza? This is the part that's sitting on the wider end of the egg. Misham yitzir sefrach metchalos, and the chick begins to grow from there. Kiven dadayu sham, since the blood is only there, lonis pazer b'shar beitza, hasn't spread yet the rest of the egg, you can throw away just the blood and eat the rest. But if the blood spot was found in the yellow, kula asura, kaman, the shada tichla bekula, the spashet hakil kul bekula, that this process now is spread through the whole egg, and you can't eat it. Says Tosfos, is again explaining the same. Rashi explained, it's only in this case that you can eat the rest. However, miu kashel feirusho, it's hard to understand Rashi. In Masechta Krisos, Tiktori Bebraisa, Yotza dam beitzim she'enan min basar. There, it goes through the kind of blood that you're chayiv for. There it says the blood in an egg is not from a type of meat, and therefore it's not chayiv. And Yotza dam chagovim shekulo heter. And blood of a grasshopper, everything of the grasshopper is permitted. When the Torah permitted blood of grasshoppers or blood of fish, that's it's recognizable that the blood is coming from the grasshopper or the fish. Now that the same should be true regarding blood of an egg. We're only going to be able to be lenient if we know for sure it came from an egg. This Isser is only midrabanan. Because the bird, you can't eat dam of a bird. And since a beitza comes from a bird, so if we permitted dam beitza, we might come to permit blood of the bird itself, of the mother, which is not permitted. What really says Tosfos as well, midaraisa shari. Aval pisha afrach not sar misham. Now eventually the chick is being created from there. So still, it's a chiddush that it's permitted. And even though in the end it's going to be an efrach, it's not the meat right now. Cloud, there's no meat at all. It takes a long time to develop into that chick. So Rashi and Tosfos hold that the blood found in a fertilized egg is also only midrabanan. Of course, this is very important, how we paskin, whether it's midaraisa or midrabanan. Everyone here has gotten a feel for this concept because the principle of safek midrabanan is lakula, safek midaraisa is lachumra. So if we're dealing with a safek, if it certainly is a huge nafkamina and din, whether the din is midrabanan or midaraisa. So that's why we're going through this, that there were Rishonim, Rashi and Tosfos, who held that blood was only rabbinic. However, the Rosh, followed by the Tur, remember, the Tur was the son of the Rosh. Rav Yaakov ben HaRosh was the Tur, right? Holds that the prohibition of consuming blood in an egg is biblical, if it is known that this egg will eventually turn into a chick. We're going to see that the males were around when the egg was laid, and it looks like it's going to turn into a chick based on its identifying markers, right? Dam beitzim im yadur she'eino mirikuma efroch. If we know for sure it's not coming from a chick, ein chayav nalav. Ela shechachamim masru. But if we know for sure that it's part of the tissues that are going, rikum is tissue. If we know for sure it's part of the tissues that's going to develop into the chick, chayav and alav even minatol. And the Shulchan Aruch rules in accordance with the position of the Tur. Dam beitzim im yoder shu merukam ha'efrach chayavim alav. You're chayiv for that. Aval im eno yoder shu merukam da'afrach. If we don't know that it's coming for, it's going to turn into a chick. And chayavim chachamim masru. It's not. There's no chiyuv malchus, or it's midrabon. So we will now discuss some of the details concerning the differences between fertilized eggs and non-fertilized eggs. It appears from the Shulchan Aruch, as well as from the Gemara that we learned, that the type of egg
And
Where
he's
is
gone.
Ernie's gone.
Ernie dropped. All right, we'll have to wait for him to get back in.
We don't need him.
Can everybody hear me?
Everybody on mute. What is this?
Yeah.
Okay,
I hear you.
From here, because I'm from New York.
let's
so
continue.
All right, Alan got mute.
So we're talking about fertilized eggs. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are we
Yes.
okay? So it appears from the Shulchan Aruch here that the type of eggs under discussion is fertilized eggs, which are eggs laid in a coop that contain both male and female birds, and which are then fertilized by a male. In this case, if a drop of blood is found in the yolk of the egg, the entire egg is forbidden by the sages, assuming that the egg has not begun to form, similar to an animal not slaughtered properly, which is entirely forbidden. However, the Shulchan Aruch and Ramah dispute the halacha where the blood is found in the albumin. Must one dispose of the entire egg, or may one simply dispose of the blood and eat the rest? So the Shulchan Aruch says, I'm using my, what's wrong with our internet? So, Nim Saleh Kordam, if a spot of blood was thrown, Zorikas Adam, V'oichelas Ashar. That's again, based on the Gemara, referring to if the blood was found only on the white. If the blood spot is found on the yellow, then Kol Asura. Says the Ramah, V'yesh Omrim, the Nimsal Kesher Achelbon, that means even if the blood spot was found on the white in the area where the embryo develops, the no matter where, even if it hasn't spread, if it's a klal also. So the chumrah regarding eggs we can see is from the Ramah. Umizenish spashet aminag b'medinos elu in Eastern Europe, Poland, and Ashkenazi communities. Less or kol beitza sheyesh bodam. Anytime we find blood, we throw it away. Vein mechalkin ben chelmon lechelbon. We make no difference between if you find it on the white or you find it on the yellow. Uva mokom denogim lahakel lizrak adam lahatir abeitza b'mokom demuter. You can't just throw away the blood. You also have to throw away a little bit of the white, kedei klipa, so that there's an amount that is not left attached to the dam. So if one cooked or baked using a fertilized egg that was not checked, so the dish is permitted since the majority of eggs do not contain blood. That's a big kula. So if a housewife was cooking and used fertilized eggs and didn't check, you can't do it lechatchila. It's only after the fact you remember you didn't check, but the cake is permitted. Likewise, the Shulchan Aruch rules that it's permitted to cook a hard-boiled egg lechatchila, even though the egg cannot be checked beforehand. For example, how do you ever cook a hard-boiled egg? You didn't check it. So you're allowed to eat them, even though you can't check it. Because we rely on statistical rove, that most eggs are not a problem. Nevertheless, since blood spots and fertilized eggs are relatively common, one who purchases fertilized eggs from a private farm or wholesaler selling organic produce should check every single egg for blood when opening it. L'chatchila. You should not cook without checking it. You got to check it. Since a significant minority of these eggs contain blood spots. This is based on the Ramah, who ruled that although there is no obligation to check, since blood spots are not found in the majority of cases, the prevalent minhag is to check. In general, we don't check most eggs because most eggs don't. Shein behem dam, we call makom noadu lachmir, kisheoisim meichel and beitzim bayom. The minhag today is to check our eggs before we cook with them. Sheroim bahem and yesh bahem dam. So that's based on a Ramah. It's a chumrah only. Now, today, nearly all eggs that are sold in regular supermarkets are unfertilized eggs, meaning that they are laid without the presence of a male. Consequently, there's almost no concern that the blood may be that of a chick developing, since chicks can only develop from eggs fertilized from a male. And therefore, most of the eggs we buy should not be forbidden. Many poskim still maintain that the minhag mentioned by the Ramah of checking eggs should be followed, though others question whether it is necessary. Says Shach, who argues that an unfertilized egg may even be eaten with a blood spot, and will hold that checking is unnecessary. But most disagree and maintain that the custom should be to check for blood spots, even in the case of unfertilized eggs. This is the policy of the OU and many other kosher organizations as well.
Ernie,
To check
the
all
sound,
eggs used,
the sound.
regardless of whether one is obligated to check each egg or not. The Achronim agree that if one does find blood found in such an egg, it is forbidden by rabbinic law due to the concern of marasayim. However, the poskim disagree as to whether one may discard the blood and consume the rest of the egg. According to Rav Moshe Feinstein, it's appropriate to discard the rest of the egg as well, since there may be a minority of eggs that come from fertilization with males, and today it's not a big hefset for most people. And Rav Mordechai Eliyahu agreed that you should not eat the entire egg either, but he says it's just a chumrah.
No, Ernie.
Chaim, maybe you better go over to his house. I think that something's up there.
Ernie's on mute.
He was muted.
Cut off his muting.
But
Ernie,
Ernie,
we can't hear you.
Ernie, you're
Ernie, we can't hear
muted.
you.
Obviously, he can't hear us either.
We can't hear you. Can't hear you. Ernie,
Okay, now we should be able to hear him.
I'm
Ernie,
sorry.
can you hear me? Ernie,
Can you
turn off
hear
Ernie.
me now?
Ernie,
Now-
turn off
now
your
it's-
video.
Turn
Turn off your video.
But
Turn
Now
off
you're
your video.
underwater, but otherwise okay.
Ernie, turn off your video.
Take your mask off.
Turn off your video. Video's taking too much of your bandwidth.
You can hear me.
Ernie, turn off your video.
So I can't hear anybody else. Mario,
Ernie.
can you unmute everybody?
But now we
Mario.
hear you good.
Can you
Now
unmute
you're
so I
good.
can? Mario,
yes,
can you unmute everybody?
yes.
You're
Ernie,
good right now.
Ernie, turn off your video.
Huh?
Ernie, if you turn off your video, we'll be able to hear you better.
I sent him.
I'm not in charge. Mario, can you
Turn off your video.
No, turn off your
everybody?
turn off your video.
I can hear everybody.
Turn off your video.
Hello?
The button to turn off the video.
I can't hear anybody. So Rav Moshe said deals with
No, turn off your video. No, turn off your video. Turn off your video. It says stop.
I did. I
Can you
did
guys
now.
hear
video.
me?
Okay, now talk.
Walter,
Yeah, now we can hear you.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Keep it off. Just do that. Carry on to teaching.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Jeez.
But hang on. Can anybody hear?
Yes.
Yes,
What's wrong with the internet? Working
I
properly.
think your internet must
But it's
be
not fast enough.
bad.
Please, I can't hear anybody.
Ernie,
No,
Walter,
Ernie,
Walter,
just
I cannot hear, I can't give a shear without hearing anybody.
Can you hear
can't
me
hear
now,
anybody?
Ernie?
Turn off your mute. Turn off your mute.
Yeah, his mute is off.
Your mute button, turn off. Don't turn on your video.
no, it's not muted. Ernie's not muted.
Maybe he is.
No, he's not.
He can't hear us for some reason.
Cannot
Oh, now he's muted again.
hear anybody.
Okay, Ernie, I don't know what to do. You got to pay your bill. You got to pay.
It's not the bill, it's Spectrum.
Down to the internet now? What's going on? Did we unplug something?
I don't know. You know what you should do? Take 1 minute, go switch off your internet, switch it back on, and see if it works
How do
properly.
I function like this?
Ernie, relax. Do yourself a favor. Go downstairs, wherever your internet is, switch it off, wait 1 minute and switch it back on, and then come back, please. Otherwise, we're not going to have a shear tonight. We need the shear.
יש עיקרים שעוסקים בתרוויו להרבות ביצים. That they deal with both fertilized eggs and other non-fertilized eggs. Who rov gadol bebeitzim animkarim elu shebelo zcharim. He says the majority of eggs are those that are not have no male involved. Af mi'ikarim elu.
Yeah, he's back. Asking for you. Bye.
Most of the egg merchants don't want to have anything to do with chicks. There's no males at all. They're all non-male fertilized eggs. He says the majority of eggs found in the markets are ones that have no males involved.
Ernie, I have a
And-
question, Ernie.
Yes?
So we learned on page 227 that it says that unfertilized eggs, regarding those, are permitted, and if one has a strong constitution, may eat them. What does that mean? Does that mean that fertilized eggs are healthier? What does that mean exactly? That unfertilized eggs are okay to eat if someone has a strong constitution?
Apparently they weren't as tasty as the other ones. You had to be someone who would eat anything pretty much to eat them. That's not an art, that's the time of the Gemara. Our as we've learned today, almost 100% of the eggs that we buy are unfertilized and they taste very good. But that was in the times of the Gemara.
All right, so you're saying it doesn't apply to today.
I don't think so. That's what, remember, that's why.
Incidentally, there was once I bought some brown eggs, a case of brown eggs, and on those there were quite a few blood spots. I don't know what that means, but the brown shelled eggs, they had a lot of brown egg spots in them.
Maybe because they're
Okay.
fertilized.
But
Maybe
let's
they
go-
were fertilized. I
well,
have no idea. I bought them in the market.
No, but we see you can have blood in an unfertilized egg. But we learned tonight that blood is not as serious. All you got to do is make a radin. You just have to remove the blood. You can eat the rest of the egg. It's the fertilized eggs that we're concerned about because they will develop into a chick, and we're not sure what between the white and the yellow. So we oscar the whole egg.
Okay,
The reason why there were leniencies regarding unfertilized eggs because they can't turn into a chick. Therefore, the blood that's there, bichlal, is not. You just have to get rid of the blood. The rest of the egg is good, says Rav Moshe.
Okay, so without any indication on the box, you would know whether you're buying a fertilized or unfertilized egg.
Can you?
No.
Okay.
But as we've heard from the OU and from the things I read, that virtually all eggs today are sold. There's no males involved. We're dealing with unfertilized eggs. And therefore, that's this whole question. Maybe we don't have to check every egg. We have a minhag by the Ramah who said you have to check every egg no matter what. And the Shach questioned that. He says, unfertilized eggs, you can even eat the dam. So don't have to check. But we follow the minig of the Ramah to say we should check every egg.
Yeah, so how do you
We
check a
also
hard-boiled
learned that
egg? We said
b'diavad,
before.
if someone
you check-
cooked with these eggs, b'diavad, you can eat it because we rely on the fact that it was
But
unfertilized
you
and raw.
still cannot check a hard-boiled egg.
And you cannot check, and it's not a problem because we follow Rove. Correct?
So you're not checking
Well,
all eggs. You're
Some
not
some
checking all-
people regarding hard-boiled eggs or soft-boiled eggs, I heard, and I do this myself, is a lot of people will boil at least three eggs at one time, and therefore when you eat each one, you're bottle in the rove of those three.
That's my wife does exactly the same thing. She learned that from her grandmother, but it's just I haven't found any source in halacha regarding that.
So
There is such a thing. There is such a thing when we have a suffix in other dinim where you don't eat out of one, you look three, and then you eat one or two out of those things. But I didn't see anyone bring that regarding here. So let's see. Let's continue. If you buy eggs in a market today, it's the vast majority are non-fertilized. And in that case, the blood would not prohibit the whole egg. That's Rav Moshe. He says, listen, an egg costs 5 cents. And we see that there were a lot of machmirim by al v'shito afshu rak drabonon shahayalanu leilech lahakel mashalom atzinu zebeshar dvorim. Many other rabbinic dinim, says Rav Moshe, were very lenient. How come all of a sudden here everybody was machmir? Mashallah, right? Af bisrum deraisa lachen kivan shal kolpanim ikemiut the boy mischarm. There's a minority that comes from fertilized eggs. Shadam oyster kolabeitzam and aroy lachmir to check. Av she'ein zemidina, but it's a chumr ba'alma. But Rav Avadia permits unfertilized eggs after discarding the blood. Amarati v'etbonein bedina beitzim amuvim ayidei chevrat tnuva l'tzarchanit v'chanuyot min hakitzovim v'amashkim, the wholesalers, the kibbutzim, v'yadu ki kimat kol hatarnegolot hamatilot v'beitzim alalu miskorim belulim v'bli latzeit lavo klal. There are no males there. Vein sham shum tarnegol zachar. Al kol panim so the vast majority of eggs are unfertilized. He was asked if they find blood in such eggs, is it permitted? That are sold in stores. So according to Rav Ovadia, all you have to do is throw away the blood. You can eat the rest. Because they're unfertilized. Even though there might be some fertilized eggs there, the parish, anything you bought is meruba parish. You got from the church, it's like Tesha Chanuyos. You have 9 butcher stores on the street and 1 treif one, and you find some meat in front of on the street. So the halacha is called a parush, meruba parush. Now, if you found a piece of meat on the floor of one of the stops and you forgot which store it was, then it's 50-50 because it wasn't parush. But if you find the meat that's left the store on the street, then we say we follow the majority. And since when you take the eggs from the store, it's parush, you took them. So then he follows parish, called the parish meruba parish. However, the generally accepted Ashkenazic custom is to throw out the entire egg, in accordance with Rav Moshe, because he said it's only 5 cents. And since there were people who were machmir, we should go with the machmir. And the Sephardic custom is generally in accordance with Rav Ovadia, as recorded in the Sefer HaKashrus. He gives us a summary. Beitzim shehutlu al yedei tarnegolatan mitzot belul. If you buy eggs from a chicken coop that have males and females in the coop, nikraot beitzim mufrot, those are called fertilized eggs. if in those eggs you find a spot of blood, habetza kula asura kedin nevela, v'oseret et atavshil or amafe, and it will asur the dish or the baked good. Afa kli tzarach agola, and the kli would require agola. Of course, unless there was bittul barov, unless you had shishim against it, but that you need the volume of 60 eggs to be mavatal against that one. That's a fertilized egg. Beitzim shutlu belulim shemitzuyut bayam tarnagolet bilvad. If you buy eggs from a chicken coop where there's only female eggs, female hens, nikraot beitzim she'enan mufrot. These are unfertilized eggs. L'dat gdolei aposkim dam shenimtza behen eina osur mishum maris ha'ayin. As we learned today, it's not really osur. It's also because of maris ha'ayin. Ushar beitza ben tzarach lo mashar atav shel vakli mutarim. All you got to do is get rid of the dam. The rest of the egg can be eaten. And then beitza shesafek imhi mafriyat tivid or melachutit. It's unsure whether it comes from natural or artificial fertilization. Yesh la'achmir la'osra. We should be machmir aval imnit arva. Afilum beitza achas nosefet bilvad. Now, if it got mixed up with another egg, yesh lahakel ulahatira. This is Chaim's concept, that if you have an egg that you're unsure about it, so if you add another regular egg to it, then you could be makel. Now, beitzei tnuva, beruvan agodol einan mufrot, he says 85% are non-fertilized. V'yesh li dunan kebeitzim she'ein mufrot. Achen lachrat harbei morei hara, kishemotzim ba'achas mehem dam, also beitza kula asura. You got to throw away the whole egg. Ushar tavshil mutar, v'nei sfarad, because that's the Ramah. V'nei sfarad dai b'hashlachat hadam atzmo bilvad. The Sfardim could be makel and just throw away the blood. Okay, any questions, any comments? Okay, new sugya. How to ensure insect-free food, tolaim. The laws detailing the prohibition against consuming insects are some of the most severe and complex within the laws of kashrut. The reason for the severity of these halachot is that every time one consumes a whole insect, one violates numerous prohibitions simultaneously. And each prohibition alone would incur malkut, the lashes given for violating prohibitions in biblical times. In addition, it's very difficult to avoid their consumption, since they are frequently found in certain food items, and the inspections necessary to identify them are often complex. According to the Gemara in Makos and the explanation of Rashi, there are 3 types of insects: water, land, and flying insects. And each one, you are subject to multiple prohibitions. If you eat a water insect, you violate 4 lavim. Because we see in Vayikra it says, if it doesn't have fins and scales, so any other living thing in the sea, sheket seim lachem. V'sheket yu lachem ibsaram lo sochele v'esem latam lo shaketzu. Al tishaktu stavshosechem b'chol asher tzasharetz. V'lo titamu bahem v'nitmeitem bam. And then it says, Zeh tochlu mikol asher b'mayim. V'chol asher ein lo snapir v'kaskesas lo tochlu tamehu lachem. So there are 4 lavim for eating water insects. Now, land insects, these are the most common insects that may not be consumed. And one who does so violates the following 5 lavim. It says, V'chol asheretz asheretz ala aretz, sheketzu lo yeachel. Then it says, V'chol asheretz asheretz ala aretz lo sochlum, ki sheketze. Al tishaktu stavshosechem, v'chol asheretz. So the al is a lav. And then it says, V'losi temu bayam and it mesem bam, that's a lo. V'losi temu stavshosechem, v'chol asheretz arames ala aretz. What about flying insects? You get 6 lavim. Because a flying insect lands on the ground. So it has all the ones for the land, and then it'll have an extra one for flying. Right? Same. That's all the land ones. And then so you violate either 4, 5, or 6 lavim. In addition to the fact that the Torah lists so many prohibitions that pertain to the consumption of insects, there's an additional stringency as well. If other non-kosher foods become mixed together with a kosher food, so let's say a fly falls into the chulent. If the prohibited food is no longer recognizable, if the fly has dissolved, and it's not recognized, and there is at least 60 times more of the kosher food than the non-kosher food, the non-kosher food is batel, and we can eat it. However, if a whole insect is mixed into the food, so we didn't talk yet about, I said if other non-kosher food, let's say chalev or nevela, falls into a chulent. So if you can't recognize it, so if you recognize it, you got to remove it. If you can't recognize it because it got cooked into the chulent, so as long as there were 60 times what the chalev or the nevela that fell in, you can eat the chulent. It's different with an insect. If a whole insect is mixed into the food, it's got a status of a beria, a whole creature. And afilu elef lo batel. There's a chumrah of a beria that there's no bittul at all, even if the item is very small. Says the Shulchan Marak, have a soup bowl, shenafal sham beria, and a whole insect fell in there. Now, if you can identify it and remove it, that's fine. V'nevda asrakol. Now, if it got lost and you can't find it, you can't eat the whole thing because you're concerned you're going to eat the beria and efilu be'alef loy batel. However, if the insect is mixed into a food and dissolved such that it is no longer whole and you can't locate it, so then you can eat the mixture as long as there were shishim against the insect. There's another kula. If the insect is no longer whole, like one of the legs or the wings fell off, but it's recognizable, you get malchus for consuming it. Only if you eat a kazayas of that. And many insects like this are not a kazayas, so you wouldn't get malchus. Says the Rambam, Nimala, a worm, that's if you had a kazayas of it, you would get malchus. But since it's not whole, you would not get malchus. There's not a kazayas. Now, one who eats less than this does not incur malchus, but it violates the Torah prohibition due to the principle of chatzi shir asur min Torah, according to which, if one consumes an amount that is less than a minimum, if you eat less than kazayas, you still violate a Torah prohibition. You just wouldn't get malchus for it. So you're not allowed to eat it l'chatchila. It should also be noted that the prohibition against consuming insects applies whether the insects are alive or dead. Says the Rambam, Lafichach ochel zvuv shalem, or yitush, if you ate a whole fly, or yitush, or a flea,
Mosquito.
shalem, bein chai ubein meis loket, mishum sheret sa'ov. Now, so from the sources we just quoted, the accepted approach of most poskim is that microscopic insects are not forbidden. However, we saw that the Aruch HaShulchan stated, I'm sorry, I skipped a page. We're now on page 242. Due to the fact that many fruits and vegetables sometimes contain insects in them, the halach is that all types of fruits and vegetables that are often infested with insects must first be checked in a thorough manner before they are eaten, as recorded in the Shulchan Aruch and Ramah. Omine peros darkon lahatliya. fruits that is very common for them to have worms. When they're attached to the tree. Lo yochal don't, you have to check the fruit even on the inside of the fruit to make sure there isn't a worm inside that you're going to eat. Says the Ramah, you can't check just the majority. It's considered a miut that's present, and you can't just rely on rov. Got to check every fruit. Now, are all insects included in the prohibition, even if they are not visible to the naked eye? Must one check with a microscope to ascertain whether there are insects or not? According to the Aruch HaShulchan, must only check for insects that are large enough to be seen by the naked eye. For example, even under certain conditions, like let's say they are placed in direct sunlight. So you might not see them in your kitchen, but if you took them out to the sun, you'd see them. So that you're chayav to check for that. However, insects that are too small to see with the average naked eye are not prohibited. The footnote says it should be noted that the great majority of insects are indeed visible to the naked eye. They're just difficult to see unless one knows where and how to look for them. Says the Aruch HaShulchan, there were those who wrote based on science, microscope, he said, if you look in vinegar, you're going to see a lot of worms there. But we'll see, there's no concern regarding vinegar. See, the Torah only prohibited insects that infested the fruit when it was connected to the tree. But vinegar the insects grow there only afterwards. Insects, it says the Shulchan Aruch and the Aruch HaShulchan, that insects that are born in locations such as these are permitted if they have not moved elsewhere. We're talking about from natural sources of water. The Torah permitted insects that are created when detached from natural sources of water. Omnam Shamati, says the Aruch HaShulchan, Shevachol Minei Mayim, in all kinds of water, v'yichud b'meksham rainwater, malei bebruim dakim she'ein ayin yachol lerotam. There are many microscopic creatures that you can't see them with the naked eye. Uviyaduti, the Aruch HaShulchan passed away in 1910. So he was young in 1830s, right? Uviyaduti shamati mipi echad shaya b'merchakim. He used a magnifying glass. He saw many creatures. How do we drink water? Those insects were created in their natural source. The Aruch HaShulchan gives us the principle that if the eye can't see it, the Torah didn't prohibit it. Even the air has creatures, the kiminatakim, very small. Person opens his mouth outside, bolea kamamehem. Elavadai dehevel yafza b'fiem. He says they speak nonsense. V'afim kenu, he says, even if it is true, kiven she'ena ayin sholet behem lav klumu. Onam kama sha'ayin yachol lirot, afilu neged hashemesh, afilu dak benadak, havisheret gomer. So he says, this gives us the principle that insects that you can't see are not usher, but you got to check if you can see them by sunlight. Same thing with Ravadia. Ravadia said, if we can't see him, a microscope. Says Ravadia, he says natural sight. That's how the shofet is supposed to see Kamare Enayim. Avaloy there even microscope of zchuchit megadel or magnifying glass. Lachein tolaim shenam nirim lain klal ein bayam shum iser aval pi shenirim em al yedei zchuchit megadel umicroscope. Okay. So any comments, questions before we adjourn to next week?
So tell me the whole issue with the filters and the water there went, that was going on a couple of years ago. What was all that about?
Chumrah
You
de
don't see
chumrah.
them. Hmm?
Chumrah de chumrah. If it's based on what we're learning, based on what the Aruch HaShulchan said and Rav Ovadia said so far, we'll go further. We just started this subject. So let's address your questions regarding those specific issues about the water. We will deal with that. This is a two-parter. It's part 1 and part 2 about the Tolaim.
Okay.